Hey, still wondering how it works? So no need to worry. You just need to watch the video till the very end to have a clear idea of CSS positioning. That is simply position relative versus position absolute. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. To help you understand position relative versus absolute, let me have an example of three divs where we will simply have a parent div, and then inside the parent div, we will simply have two child divs, right? So this will be our first child, then this will be our second child. So simply let's have the class name as parent div for the parent div, and then the class name as simply child div1 for your first child, and simply child div2 for the second child, right? So these are the names I'm just giving for your understanding. You can have any other name if you want. So let's initially have simply a normal div. Then afterwards, I will give them a position relative. So let's say the first div is simply normal div, or both is normal div now. And what you can do, you can have a simple styling, like you can simply give them a height and width so that it will be visible on the screen. So what I will do, I will simply make a big square of the parent div, and inside the parent div, we will simply have two child div, which will be your small squares, right, of different colors. To simply see them on the screen. So simply your parent div, then let's simply style the child div. Then let's do the same thing for our second child. That is simply child div2. So we simply have a bigger div, that is your parent div, and we simply have two divs, that is the child div1 and child div2. So let's initially, if we want to have some positioning for this child div2, let's say I want to move this 30 pixel from top and left to the second child. So what I will do, simply I will have top 30 pixel and left 30 pixel as well. So it won't work. See, nothing is happening, right? So why this behavior? So as to have this top, left, right, and bottom, we need to have position properties. That is simply your position. Then we need to use position relative, absolute, or maybe fixed or sticky. So in short, it will work with your position property. So simply let's have position relative for this. So when I give this position relative, now what will happen? Your child div, that is your normal div, is now position relative. So let's say, so what it will do, it will leave 30 pixel from top and 30 pixel from left, that is from its original position. So this was the original position of the div. Now when we have position relative, see, it left 30 pixel from top as well as 30 pixel from left. So it means it left 30 pixel top and left from its original position. So when I say original position, it means it still remembers its original position. So kind of preserving its original position. So although it left 30 pixel from here top, 30 pixel from left, but it still remembers its place. So it won't allow any other elements to come upon its place. So this way we will not have any kind of breaking issues for the layout. So let's say instead of this, we simply have 100 from left. So now also it will remember its original position like it was before. So this was the position relative. Now to understand position absolute, to explain you in a much better way, so simply let's have a parent div, and inside the div, or let's say this is your grandparent div, and this is your simply parent div. And let's say we have one more div, which will be simply your child div. And let's simply style them. So let's say your grandparent div, and this is your simply parent div. Let's say with the height of 200 pixels, and your child div simply it have a width and height of 100 pixels. So now let's say we have simply your grandparent div, and then inside the div we have your parent div, and again inside the parent div we have the child div, right? So now let's say we want to position the child div. Let's say we want to move the child div 20 pixel from top and left, and your child div have simply position absolute. So now this child div will look for position absolute in its parent. So if I give position relative to its parent, we gave position absolute to the child. It looked for position relative and it found the position relative in its parent. So now the child div will move 20 pixel left and top with respect to the parent div. It means with respect to this box, that is your parent box. See, so it left 20 pixel top and left with respect to this box. So if we give position relative to its grandparent div, so now instead of taking this as a reference, that is taking this box as a reference to move 20 pixel top and left, this child div will take a reference of grandparent div, that is this. Now it will leave 20 pixel top and left with respect to this box, that is the black box. See, now it left 20 pixel top, 20 pixel left with respect to this box. Now let's say if your grandparent div also doesn't have position relative and your child div have position absolute, it will look for position relative in its parent. There it won't find. Then it will look for position relative in its grandparent div. There also, if it won't find, then it will take the viewport, that is your HTML, that is this portion, the complete white background. It is your viewport, or you can assume this as your body. So it will take the body as a reference. It will assume the body as simply relative. And now your child div will leave 20 pixel top and left with respect to your viewport. That is this complete white background. See, now it left 20 pixel top and left with respect to this viewport. So let's say instead of this, simply 200. See, 200 with respect to this and this. So this is how it works. So yes, that's it for this video. Hope you understood now the position relative as well as the position absolute in a much better way. So see you all in the next one. Till then, take care.